Hey guys, welcome to another Razer tutorial where finally we're gonna check out the Razer Vocoder, and it's about time. And I made this a little composition, start of a song this morning, and I wanted to see what would happen if I use two very clean synthesizers. So I just used a Razer, it's my first synthesizer, and Chromophone as the second synthesizer. And Chromophone, if you don't know that synth, it's a physical modeling synthesizer. And it looks like this, and basically you can choose your different objects here and that you're gonna excite with either a mallet or a noise. This is used to create very realistic sounds because it will calculate exactly what, for example, a drum skin does when you hit it with a certain force. And you can choose different objects. You can choose a plate, a tube, and you can combine those two, and because you have two of these resonators, and the sound that one of the resonators makes also influences the other one. So this is normally used to create very realistic sounds of strings and mallets, but you can also use it to create very realistic drum sounds. So that is how I made this beat that I will play to you. So no samples are used here, this is just pure synthesis. For example, these can sound really realistic. And the other cool thing about it is that when you use samples, normally you're gonna have some messy frequencies in there. But if you look at these frequencies, this is my right, for example, that I cut off. But you can see that it's very clean, all the harmonics are there. And there's no messy frequencies in between. For example, if you now would open a reverb before that, just a normal reverb, you can see the harmonics get messy. And this is more what a sample would look like, this upper region. But with this physical modeling, you get these very clean sounds with these spiky waves, and you get just the harmonics that you want. So that's what I want to use in combination with the Razer, because that's another very clean synthesizer. I'll play the beginning and then I'll show you what I did inside the Razer. Okay, and here we are in Razer, and what you have to do to get the vocoder working is using a sidechain. And you can, in Logic, you can open your sidechain here. In Ableton it works a little bit different, but I think that if you know Ableton, you should know how to use a sidechain. And I chose two formant oscillators here. Since we're going to use a vocoder, the formant oscillator is going to be ideal for that situation. And then I buzzed all my drums. So all this stuff is going to one bus, and there's bus 10, and there's my drum bus right here. And Razer is listening to that bus 10, so that bus 10 is also going to the output. That's why I hear it. It's going to bus 64, which is my output, and it's going to Razer. And inside Razer we can see that right here, bus 10. So now the vocoder is listening to that drum beat, and that's what's giving the rhythm. So if I solo this, it will sound quite boring without any rhythm. But then when I insert the drums, and I can mute the drums that are going to the output, So now Razor will still listen to the drums, but I don't hear the drums. And then you can hear the drum rhythm in the Razor sound, and you can see it as well. You can see it bouncing around. And another cool thing now is that when I start to mute certain parts of my drum beat, the rhythm inside Razor also changes. And further what I did is, I just used those format oscillators and I just dragged this around a little bit, pretty random. I chose the ratio for format oscillator 2 to be at 2. And a big deal with these sidechaining sounds is this color knob and the damp and attenuation. Those two knobs can do a lot of stuff. Let's see. Solo this. You can hear it when I change the color. It acts sort of as a filter, and then these decay parameters are also pretty nice. And you can see the inputted sidechain signal here, and then the output to the right. So that is my drum beat. So I need to give it some input. Here's another Razor sound, but here there are less drums, so the Razor sound will change. Now it only listens to the kick drum. Right, and further I think I didn't do a lot of fancy stuff. What I did is use the sidechain as an additional modulation source on the formant and on the cutoff of the comb peak filter. And to do that you just click here and then you choose the sidechain as a source. So I can choose that again here, but I don't know why I would do that. I could also set it to the boost parameter of the comb filter sidechain and then drag it down. And you can create some really interesting rhythms with that. I can use the sidechain here as a modulation. Maybe on the formant, let's go crazy with it. We could even use it on an effect that would be pretty extreme, but I'm gonna try it anyway. Sidechain. You can use it very subtly to detune the sound on the drum hits. You can there's so much cool stuff. You can try it on the reverb dry wet. even on the decay. So that is the vocoder function in Razor, and you can do more than just make these bumpy kind of groovy sounds. You can also make some awesome, cool, fat, thick bass sounds, and then just use a more easy drum rhythm to give it a little bit more movement. One thing to keep in mind is that you have to use the safe bass, because otherwise if there's no signal coming in, so if it's not listening to the bus, you're gonna hear pretty much nothing, even though I do have my MIDI notes in there. So you want to use the safe bass, and you can experiment with the slope a little bit, make it more aggressive or less aggressive. And you can choose with different filters for the second slot. I can try gaps or bandpass. Oh, this one is pretty cool. And then you can change your rhythm to completely change the sound of the sidechain. So I can mute all these other things, just let the hi-hats play there. So I hope that gives you an idea of what you can do with Razor and a chromophone. Also check that one out. It's a really cool synth if you're interested in the more clean and also more, I think, more advanced synthesis. Thanks, and see you next week.